Please come.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
You can take off the mask if you like. Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Maliye Sri Pranav, sir.
Okay. So please tell us about yourself.
So I'm from Guntur, Andhra Pradesh, where I've done my schooling. Later on, I went on to pursue my graduation in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Amrita School of Engineering, Coimbatore, where I've graduated in the year 2018. From then on, I've been preparing for civil services. I'm that kind of person who loves to take leadership roles. At the same time, I consider myself a dedicated workaholic person.
Okay. Now, you are from Andhra.
Yes, sir.
Basically, which district are you from?
Guntur district, sir.
Guntur. Okay. Please tell us the demography of Guntur district.
So the population of Guntur district is around 40 lakhs, where it has a sex ratio of 992. The literacy ratio is around 74, which is quite above the national average. At the same time, Guntur it has a huge religious diversity ranging from Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and Buddhists as well.
But among Muslims, can you tell me what is the difference between Shias and Sunnis?
So I think there are these are two sects of Islam. After the prophet's death, the two relatives of prophet have bifurcated, leading to rise of two sects under both of them.
Relatives. Okay.
Yes,
have you read today's newspaper, please?
Yes,
okay. Tell me three main headlines.
One of the center has submitted an affidavit in Supreme Court saying that it shouldn't the same-sex marriages act be detrimental to our societal laws as well as our customary morality.
Will be what?
The same-sex union and marriages act detrimental to societal interests or societal laws.
Okay. Okay.
That is one headline, sir. That I could recollect, sir.
But let us talk about this. Why did the government say? What did the government finally say then in the affidavit? It says it is okay. I mean, one is the society view. Then anything else? Any other argument did the government say? And what was its final view today?
It says that the sanctimony of the marriage or the institution of marriage depends upon it's all about a bond between a biological male and a female, whereas same-sex union acts against that principle. So it says that we need to pave way for customary morality in some things.
Okay. Okay. Anything else they said? No.
I couldn't recollect.
Okay. That doesn't matter. Can you tell me what is the finance bill?
Finance bill, sir?
Yeah.
It's a part of the union's budget that will be presented. It has all the proposals for the rising of all the tax proposals or other bills which are substantive.
No, but what does it mean? What does it mean?
So it's a kind of money bill where certain tax proposals, alterations of tax regimes, or some other laws, for example, amendments. In
So what happens by introducing it? What is the purpose of introducing it?
To realize some budget proposals.
Okay. Can you tell me what are the main internal security challenges to India, please?
So going by geography, I think the Northeast is vulnerable to certain inter-ethnic conflicts. At the same time, the insurgents...
Vulnerable, or these are there?
So vulnerable, at the same time they are facing some issues of insurgency from the inter-ethnic conflicts. At the same time, the insurgency that is rising from Myanmar. At the same time, in the northwestern front, we are facing issues from our neighbors through cross-border terrorism. At the same time, the rising militancy in the region of Kashmir. Also in deep lands of India, in the tribal regions, there is an issue of left-wing extremism and Naxalism.
Which tribal areas? There are tribals, there are tribals in how many states in India?
The red corridor region, as they say, sir, the regions of central India, Jharkhand.
Let us go to the northeast. You mentioned the first point. In which states of the northeast there is insurgency?
In the region of Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram.
In the region of Nagaland, I mean, you mean what? Manipur, and
there's this greater demand for Nagalim under the.
But this is not insurgency, no.
Insurgency, at the same time, the extortion that these groups are doing, they're acting quite contrary to the law and order.
Security. Who's doing insurgency in Manipur?
The Naga, the National Democratic, sorry, couldn't recollect the name, sir.
And elsewhere, where else did you say?
In Manipur, there's this inter-ethnic conflict between Kukis and the other tribes.
Which are the tribes there?
Kukis and Riyangs.
Riyangs are in Tripura. There is not a single Riyang in Manipur.
I think I'll have to look into it.
You will have to study.
So in the region of Assam, there's this Bodo insurgency that is.
With Bodo, the government of India had an agreement. I think, anyway, you are not updated. It doesn't matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Sri Pranav?
Sir, yes, sir.
Call him Sri Pranav. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana bifurcated. Why did they do so? Is there a difference in culture, in the people, in the language? What was the reason?
Yes, I think both the regions have this linguistic contiguity, sir, but both the cultures are quite different, sir. For example, Telangana's culture is largely folk-based. At the same time, the history there under the Nizam's rule, whereas the region of Andhra Pradesh is under the rule of British till independence. Also, at the same time, after the unification of both the regions under the Reorganization Act, there has been certain promises made to the region of Telangana, such as
promises by whom?
Sorry, sir.
Promises by whom?
By both the regions. They had an agreement called the Gentleman's Agreement, where both the leaders from both the regions have sat down for agreement for power sharing, for sharing of water. At the same time, using surplus budgets for regional development of Telangana. So, but there has been a feeling of perceived deprivation due to certain promises not being met, which has led to backwardness of many regions in the Telangana. Also, there has been this concentration of political and economic capital in the people of Andhra Pradesh that has led to this feeling of differences, sir.
So, the grievances were with Telangana?
Yes, sir.
And now, since it has become a separate state, have the grievances disappeared? Or is the development now taking place without discrimination?
I think in the region of Telangana, the development has been quite good, sir. With growth of service sector, investments in irrigation, the rise of the agricultural growth, I think the region of Telangana is doing quite good.
So has it benefited Telangana? That's what you are saying?
It has benefited Telangana, sir. But the region of Andhra Pradesh has been facing some issues, sir.
Okay. So what about the farmers there in Telangana? Are they well off, or do they have issues?
Most of the region, the Telangana region is a dryland region, sir. So previously there has been issues of poor remuneration for the farmers, but now I think the situation has been improving after the irrigation schemes under the Kaleshwaram project that has come. Also, certain food processing sectors investments have been created in the region of Telangana, mainly for processing of spices or millets. So it has been doing.
So for Andhra Pradesh, the Raitu Bharosa scheme, has it benefited the farmers?
Yes, sir. The Raitu Bharosa scheme is an add-on to the PM Kisan scheme, where 13,500 amount is disbursed into accounts of farmer. It has been doing good, sir, because it is providing autonomy for the farmers in purchasing inputs. At the same time,
who are the beneficiaries? All farmers?
Yes, sir. It is being given to all farmers, sir.
Including the landless?
Yes, sir. They need to have a certificate. There's a separate land lease certificate that they need to have, and they need to enroll themselves on a platform called eCrop, such that they could get the benefits, sir.
But Raitu Bandhu doesn't support the landless?
Yes, sir. Raitu Bandhu is only for the landowners.
Why is that? Although you're not from Telangana, but why should the Raitu Bandhu support only the big landlords?
Sir, I'm not aware of the rationale of the scheme.
You're
Sir.
not aware.
I need to look into it.
Andhra Pradesh has this great culture of spice. What is the history of it? Because even in your food, you eat spices which normally in the other parts of the country people can't consume them. And you give them names like dynamite, gunpowder. What is the story behind this?
So I think as we know, the spices are introduced in this cultivation of spices is quite rich in India, mainly in South India. I think the geographical conditions for the cultivation of spices have been advantageous in Andhra Pradesh. Also at the same time, I think right from the ancient rulers of Andhra Pradesh, the spices cultivation has always been promoted for the exports. Also it is in the culture of the people that eating spices makes the people more healthier.
Is that right? Do you believe that?
So I think if it is consumed in right proportion, then it makes the person healthier, sir.
Okay.
Indian diet is diverse in that way.
Now the Silent Valley Bank has collapsed. Both your parents are in the banking sector.
So is it Silicon Valley Bank, sir?
Silicon Valley, sorry. Silicon
You are
Valley.
not aware?
I'm aware of it, sir.
No, I said Silent Valley. Silicon Valley. So why did it collapse?
After the Ukraine war, I think there has been a recession in the American economy, so which has led to rise in interest rates by the US Fed. So this has led to massive drying up of liquidity in the economy. So many investors, many depositors of Silicon Valley Bank have started to run into banks' deposits, withdraw them. At the same time, there is this venture capitalist lobby that is also persuading these depositors to withdraw money. So that has led to a bank run, sir.
What has happened to Indians who have deposits there or have taken loans there? Is there any help coming for them?
So I think the Indian startups, it is said that the Indian startups are vulnerable to this phenomena. But
how are they vulnerable?
Because
this happened in California.
Many funders of the startups have their deposits in the capital being
So
reserved.
is the government of India doing anything?
I am not aware of the steps that the government have taken, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Sri Pranav.
Sir.
Tell me something about muons. Do you know what is muons? M-U-O-N-S. It was recently in the news.
It is one of the fundamental particles in the nature, sir. But I'm not fully aware. I need to look into it, sir.
Okay, can you give one sentence definition of mathematics? Which is your option?
So I think mathematics is the tangible manifestation.
Mathematics is
It's a tangible manifestation, and it is an proof for the science that we are witnessing, sir.
Okay. There is something called outsourcing excellence. UGC has invited some institutions, from educational institutions from developed countries, or those who are within 500 below ranking, or you can say above ranking. So those institutions' invitation is said to be a outsourcing of excellence. What is your opinion about it?
So I think I strongly support setting up of those universities in India, because it leads to diversification of our education base, more diversification of the human resources, contributes to our human capital. At the same time, it provides opportunities for Indians to get educated in other sectors. But still, I think there are issues of affordability, accessibility, because these institutions, they come up with high finances. So I think we need to take two steps, sir. One is to extend scholarships for those people who might fall out of this thing.
Who will extend scholarship?
To scholarships to the poor people or to the backward sections.
Who will give?
The government of India.
If government had the money, they could have set up an institution of excellence. Well,
The second point, I would say that the institution of eminence should also needs to be scaled up, such that it covers many sections of the people.
We have IITs, we have IIMs. We could have set up more of them if there is money. And rather than giving fees to the foreign universities, we can have fees ourselves only.
But having foreign universities in our nation, I think it puts spotlight on India, such that it could still attract many investments. It can make
But
India
it puts a spotlight on our Vishwaguru status also.
Sorry, sir. Can you please repeat?
Vishwaguru. We say that we are Vishwaguru.
Yes,
India is Vishwaguru. So when you are asking others to teach us, so where is the Vishwaguru concept? How we will reply that to the outside world?
So I think the Vishwaguru also comes with the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as well, sir. So I think even we can.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is in a different context.
But as those institutions come to our nation, even I think even they might also involve in learning about India's achievements, India's advancements. So in that way, there is this inter-exchange of knowledge and culture.
No, that is there. Vishwaguru is in the field of education. It refers to the field of education. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam refers to as a kind of a tolerance, or we help each other. That is a different thing. Help your neighbor. So anyhow, anything else you want to say on this? No. Which parts of the budget you are not happy with?
So I think regarding the revenue mobilization part, I thought there would be some schemes or some actions on the national monetization pipeline that we have announced, but there had been no solid evidences of that in the budget. And secondly,
revenue mobilization.
Secondly, I think the social sector schemes, there has been reduction in the spending on the sectors such as health, education, and MG Narega as well. Given the vulnerability given the vulnerability or the issue that we are facing after the COVID pandemic, I think it's not right steps reducing the social sector expenditure.
In the revenue mobilization, what you would have suggested?
Myself, sir, my idea.
What is your idea about that which is not in the budget? I mean, what should have been done?
So I think the national monetization pipeline that we have announced earlier, the national monetization pipeline, I think it is one of the good practices.
Monetization is a good word, but otherwise it is selling your property, that's all.
So monetization, with due respect, I think monetization is not just selling, sir. It's all about. It also includes leasing of our assets, such that.
As good as when it is just to save the face, we say leasing. Leasing also is a semi-selling.
So, but I think it reduces the infrastructure burden that we are facing. It would also promote user satisfaction.
How long you can keep on selling the properties? There is an end to it. So do you recommend that profit-making PSUs should be sold out, or their shares should be sold out, or they should be leased out?
So I don't recommend selling of profit-making PSUs, but those white elephants that we are hosting needs to be.
They are mostly gone. White elephants have mostly disinvested already.
So, but there are also other non-core assets. For example, the stadiums that the government is hosting, or certain other highways.
Stadium, what is that?
Non-core assets.
Why? How it is non-core? Sports is very important.
So, I think, but if that is
talking about the economy only, or of the country as well?
It is important for the economy, for the country as well. But I think if they are operated through public-private partnerships, it would have been realized in a good way. As example, going by the Odisha model.
What about this? What Odisha model is?
Sorry, sir?
What is the Odisha model?
Odisha model, where I think the stadiums and the talent recruitment is done through public-private partnerships, where the government.
What is the use?
So I think firstly, it has been promoting scouting of good players from rural areas by creating integrated sports complexes in the many regions.
The government can also do it.
So, but
do you think the private will come without profit, and do you want a profit in the sports?
So, but if it is acting as an incentive to promote talent, I think that needs to be promoted. Sir.
Why any enterprise in private is set up for profit only? That is the only motive. There cannot be any other motive. If there is any other motive, it will fail. Okay. As a last question, implication of China brokering deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Brief.
So firstly, I think it increases China's presence.
For India, tell me, for India.
First, it increases the China's presence in the Middle East region.
So
and
good for us or bad for us?
I think it reduces the sometimes it can reduce the relevance of India, because given that initiatives that you are taken, such as the I2U2, but with growing China's presence in that region, it might become a strategic competition to us in that region. Secondly, the supply chains, the fuel supply chains with Chinese dominance in it.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Whether China is a signatory to it?
Sorry, sir.
Whether China also signed the agreement?
China has brokered the agreement between Iran and Saudi.
Whether they have put their signature? Anybody from China?
I am not aware of it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Pranav,
Sir.
now I see from your draft that you have played a lot of cricket. In fact, you were a member of your college's cricket team.
Yes, sir.
Now, in cricket, there are 3 fielding positions: silly point, silly mid-on, silly mid-off. Why are they called silly?
I am not aware of it, sir.
Oh, you're a cricketer.
But
Now, you were also a member of your school's quiz and literary team.
yes, sir.
And you got the gold medal in mathematics,
Yes,
Olympiad.
yes, sir.
Now, which award would you consider the highest given in the field of mathematics internationally?
So I think there are good, 2 good awards that are the pinnacle, sir. One is the Fields Medal.
Yes.
The other is the Abel's Prize.
What is the difference in the criteria for which these are awarded? It relates to age. Now tell me.
So I think for the Fields Medal, the age limit is 40, sir, if I am not
Yes,
wrong.
that is the correct answer.
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me who won the Abel Prize last year? Abel Prize is much more in terms of money. It's almost like the Nobel Prize. But who won the Abel Prize last year?
So I could recollect on the first half of the name.
Yes, tell me the
It's
first.
Mariam.
No. Has any person of Indian origin ever won the Abel Prize?
Yes, sir. It's Manjula Bhargava.
No, he
Akshay-
won the. Don't confuse between the Abel Prize and the Fields Medal. Manjula Bhargava won the Fields Medal. I'm talking to you about the Abel Prize, which is a much bigger award. Has any person of Indian origin, NRI, PIO,
So if you permit me, can I take a guess, sir?
as an exception? Okay, tell me.
Akshay Venkatesh, sir.
Again, you're talking about the Fields Medal. Now,
I'll
all
have
right,
to look
let's.
into it, sir.
It was Srinivas Vardhan. He got it in 2007.
Yes.
I think. Now, do you follow India's foreign policy? Yes, you do.
Yes.
Now, you referred to Vasudev Kutumbakam. Can you give me some examples where India has implemented its belief in Vasudev Kutumbakam?
So the recent example of Operation Dost that we have, where we have extended our humanitarian assistance and disaster relief.
What was Operation Dost?
It's about the HADR operations that we have taken in the earthquake affected areas of Turkey and Syria.
Okay. Now you referred to Turkey. I'm sure that when this earthquake took place, and even otherwise, you would have looked at the map of Turkey. Can you tell me which countries are the neighbors of Turkey, which have land borders with Turkey? I'm also asking you because you are a quiz specialist.
Syria,
Okay, I guess you
Syria, Iran,
Yes.
Bulgaria.
Oh, you jumped across.
Yes.
But let's go Syria. Syria. Next to Syria,
Cyprus.
it has only a sea border. I'm talking about land borders. All right, you need to take a look, but don't give me a wrong guess like Cyprus. Land border.
I'll look into it, sir.
Okay, now you would have read about the Iran-Saudi agreement which has been reached. Can you tell me some details? Whatever you have picked up when you've read the news.
Sir, I just know about the brokering of the China that has been done.
China has brokered it, okay.
At the same time, both the countries have have come forward to such that.
When did they break off the relations and why? Because they have this agreement is to restore diplomatic relations. But then the question arises, why did they break diplomatic relations? And when did they break diplomatic relations?
I think after Iran coming out of JCPOA deal, I think.
What is the JCPOA?
The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, nuclear deal.
No. Something happened between the two. It's also said in the reports. All these reports have mentioned why Iran broke off. So you haven't followed the report.
So I think is it the attack on the Aramco, Iran supporting the terror?
No, that happened much later, and that was not directly done by Iran. It was done by the Houthi rebels.
I look into it, sir.
Okay, all right. Now, have you followed the engagements with other countries that India has undertaken to form organizations, regional organizations? What can you tell me about the importance of BIMSTEC?
So I think with the declining relevance of SAARC, with the growing bilateral tensions the India and Pakistan have, and the less frequency of the SAARC summits, I think BIMSTEC has proved to be a viable alternative.
Which are the countries which are members of BIMSTEC?
Sir, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, sir.
That's 6, but there are 7. What is the name? What is the name of BIMSTEC? Can you give me the full form?
Bay of Bengal Institute.
So you didn't include Bangladesh.
Sorry, sir,
you mentioned all the countries, yes, but not Bangladesh, which is central to Bay of Bengal.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the full form of BIMSTEC?
Bay of Bengal Institute, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Collaborations.
Cooperation, not collaboration.
Cooperations.
My last question to you. You referred to problems with Pakistan, which India has been having. What is the main problem?
So I think the cross-border terrorism that Pakistan is sponsoring to the militant organizations.
Can you name some of these militant organizations which engage in terrorist activities against India? Some of the main organizations?
So the Lashkar-e-Taiba,
okay,
the Jaish-e-Mohammed.
Can you tell me some attacks which Lashkar-e-Taiba has carried out?
So the 26/11 attacks on the Bombay has been
okay.
through LET, sir.
Any other?
Also the 2013 Hyderabad blasts.
Was it done by Lashkar?
LET and JEM, sir, together.
Alright, now tell me some attacks which the JEM has carried out.
So the Pulwama attacks in 2019, sir.
And who heads the Jaish-e-Mohammed?
Sir, can I take a guess, sir?
Alright.
Is it Masood Azhar, sir?
It is.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Our discussion with you is over.
Thank you, sir.
Kindly wait outside for a few minutes.
Thank you,
We
sir.
will call you for a feedback.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Amazing.